In Episode 8, The Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker refuses to return with Rey to help the Resistance and to attempt to turn his fallen apprentice Ben Solo back to the light. And when Skywalker does finally come back at the end of the film, he tells his sister that he came back to face her son, but that he cannot save him. This line from Luke has always seemed a bit odd to me, considering his actions in Return of the Jedi and his success in saving Darth Vader, who was far more evil and far more ingratiated in his dark ways than Kylo Ren ever even came close to being. But in my most recent viewing of The Last Jedi, a rather clear answer finally dawned on me, and it's actually not that hard to identify. Now let's back up from this moment between Luke and Leia at the end of the film. This video is not about why Luke Skywalker gave up on Ben Solo after his initial transition to the dark side. That is a completely different matter. In those days, Luke firstly doesn't even know what really happened on that night. He thinks Ben slaughtered his students, when in reality he did not. He believes Ben turned to evil willingly after their encounter in Ben's hut. He did not, and Luke is ashamed of his own actions as well. At that point in the story, Luke Skywalker really is hopeless. He doesn't believe Ben can be redeemed. He no longer believes in what he has worked so hard for. He is completely defeated in every sense of the word. So that's a completely different topic altogether. The question we are interested in for this video is, why does Luke refuse to entertain the possibility of going back with Rey, or even on his own, to apologize to Ben and try to reconcile their past? And the answer to that question is that Luke understands that he cannot be the one to save Ben, due primarily to the past between the two of them. It's not that Luke doesn't believe Ben Solo can be redeemed, which is something I used to think actually, but it's the fact that his presence will only enrage Kylo Ren even more, which is what we see happen at the end of Episode 8. And this mentality is evidenced very clearly in Luke's conversation with Leia. Luke says he came back to face him, but he cannot save him, which indicates that he doesn't think Ben can be saved. Leia responds saying she held out hope for so long, but she knows her son is gone. But then Luke follows up and tells her, no one's ever really gone. And that tells us exactly what I just explained. Luke believes Ben Solo can be redeemed, but he knows that that's not his role. It is Rey, Leia, and of course Ben Solo's own personal reawakening that will ultimately determine his fate. And on this same train of thought, another question arises. A bit earlier in the film, when Luke tells Rey the truth about Ben Solo's fall to the dark side, he tells her that if she goes to Ben, it's not going to go the way she thinks. Again, this sounds like Luke doesn't believe Ben can be saved, but it's more about the timing and the circumstances Rey is walking into than it is about Luke's feelings on the big picture. There are some other motives for Luke not going with Rey as well, as he simply hasn't rediscovered himself yet. He's still lost. He is still searching for the right thing to do. But one of the factors that surely plays into him not returning with Rey to face Snoke and Ben is that he's pretty confident, and he's probably correct in thinking that his presence will lessen the chances of Ben's return. From Luke's point of view, going there doesn't do anybody any good. Kylo won't turn, and Luke is certainly not going to kill him. He'll do anything and everything he can to avoid even being presented with that possibility, so he can't go. As for Rey, he tells her not to go there because he knows she doesn't have the strength to face Snoke and Kylo on her own. And again, he doesn't think she will be able to turn Kylo back to the light on her own, certainly not right now, after just recently learning that he killed his own father. That revelation is further confirmation for Luke that Ben Solo is gone. I think it's important to understand how Luke's mentality changes throughout this film. For a lot of The Last Jedi, he may actually believe that Kylo is irredeemable, because he thinks that his sins are far worse than what they actually are, and because Luke is just in a very bad mindset at that time. He is not Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi anymore. He's devastated. He is quite literally depressed. He feels like a complete and utter failure. It's only once he reopens himself to the Force and has his encounter with Master Yoda that Luke Skywalker finds himself once again. And the combination of Yoda's appearance as well as Rey's influence on him are what eventually bring him back. They force him to remember his past and see things in a totally different light. They pull him out of this hole that he's found himself in, and finally, when Luke does come back and he talks to Leia, this is the point where he most certainly does believe that Ben Solo can still be saved. So it's an evolving matter. Luke's mental state in this film is not stagnant from start to finish, and I think that's important to understand. And on that note, I am going to go ahead and wrap this video up here, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you did find some insight in this video, because I think the characterization of Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi is one of the more interesting and evolving plot points to pick apart and talk about. So if you did enjoy, please remember to drop a like on this video to support the channel, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and of course, may the Force be with you always.